Let me ask you a question. Are you all in? And I'm not saying are y'all in? I'm saying are you all in? That's what we're going to talk about today. But first, welcome to it. It's Thursday, which means it's time for the voiceover huddle. Every morning we do it at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And this channel is just to give you a little tip to help you in your voiceover business. Uh, that's what we do every weekday morning. My name's Mike Hathcote, and I'm a full-time voice actor and voiceover coach and author of the book, The Voiceover Blueprint. You can get this for less than $10 in the description below for the digital download as well as the ebook or or the audiobook. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell and share and all that good stuff. I'd appreciate it. And then, of course, chime in. Let me know where you're watching from. We're going to do some shout outs here just in a few minutes. All right, let's talk about today's question, and that is, are you all in? So what I mean by that is, are you fully dedicated or are you just kind of nibbling around the edges when it comes to your voiceover business? Um, Either is fine, and there will be different results with either of these. If you're just doing this as a side hustle or just something to kind of make ends meet or, just on the edges, then that's fine. But don't expect quick results if you are just kind of dabbling. If you want this thing to be a real deal, if you're trying to build this thing into a full-time career, then you need to be all in, which means top quality demos, a good website, the right marketing approach, uh, you know, finding the right customers to be in front of. Without those basic things, you're going to be kind of just, like I said, nibbling around the edges. Um, Whenever I talk to new upcoming talent, a lot of them will ask me, well, how long does it take for me to go full time? And of course, the results vary, depending on the person and how much they put into it. But I can only give you my experience. And I'm just going to break it down, real numbers. I may have mentioned this on here before, but I'm going to say it again. When I started doing this, I had kind of dabbled in it when I got back into it after a little break. I had kind of gotten back into it a little bit, but I was downsized from my corporate job at GoDaddy, and they told me that I could stay with the company if I wanted to just take another role, or I could exit. So, because I had been kind of, thinking about getting back into voiceover for a while and had kind of laid a little bit of the groundwork, I went ahead and said, "You know what? This is the universe telling me it's time for me to do this full time." And so I left GoDaddy one day being full-time employed, and the next day I was doing this full time. Now, I did have the right things in place. I had a good demo, I had a good website, I had joined the blueprint and knew all the things to do with those demos and website. Because it was sink or swim for me. There was literally no other option at that point. Do or die. So, the pressure was on. But I treated it like a full-time job, even though I wasn't doing much recording right at the beginning, you know? You have to do the groundwork. You have to lay the groundwork first, then you start to build the business. But I treated it like a full-time job. I came into the booth and I worked marketing my butt off, sometimes 8, 10, 12 hours a day because once again, no other option. Um, the more you put into this thing, the more you get out. You can go back and watch our one that we did previously on, return on investment, ROI. Um, the more you invest into this, as long as it's the right things, good quality equipment, a good space to record in, demos, website, all those things, the the quicker this will happen. Now, I'm not saying you should just quit your job tomorrow and do this full time like I did. That's everybody has a different situation. But just don't expect things to happen overnight. It is a marathon, not a sprint. I mean, that's people say that all the time, but it really is the case. It's going to take a while. Very rarely do things happen overnight or even in a short amount of time. Especially if you're not all in. You've got to be 100% committed to this thing. A lot of people just don't realize how much goes into building a business like this. Now, I will say that compared to most other businesses, especially a business like a brick and mortar, location type business, the barrier to entry into voiceover is relatively small in the way of things that you have to invest to get it up and running. You know, if you were to open a I don't know an ice cream shop, I don't know, it's going to take hundreds of thousands of dollars probably to get those doors open before you make a single dollar. So in VO, much less than that before you can start seeing some return. Um, and once you're up and running, there's very little overhead. You know, so the barrier to entry is low, but you do have to put the right things in place and you have to focus your attention and be all in. Um, and that's really it. That's my lesson today. If you want this thing to happen, you got to put everything into it, or else it's just going to kind of not fizzle, but it won't grow. And once again, if that's okay with you, if all you're doing this is kind of a hobby or a side hustle or whatever, totally cool. I know plenty of people who do that, totally fine. But if you want to build this thing into a real profitable career, you got to be all in. All right? Cool. All right, let's talk about the TV affiliate boot camp coming up later this month. Of course, I've mentioned before that we are limited to 15 spots. We're now down to 10 spots. So they are going fast. So if you're thinking about signing up for that, the link is in the description below. And I also did an interview with Aaron that you can check out in the description as well, where we go really deep into all the little things that you're going to get with this to create that extra revenue stream on top of your voiceover business. It's kind of nice to have that repetitive, repeat income coming in every month. But anyway, check it out in the description if you want to learn more about it. And that's it. Let's see who's in today. Ding, ding, ding. There's Jason. Good morning from Kearney, Nebraska. He's the first one in today. And there's Ron from Grand Haven, Michigan. And good morning, Mark from Montreal. Hey there, Maria from Rhode Island. Good to see you on here. And there's Sean from Longview. There's Nephi from Knoxville. Nephi was one of the recent ones who picked up the TV affiliate boot camp. So I'm going to see him on there in a little while. There's Edward from Jacksonville, Florida, and Dennis from Grant Park, Illinois. Good to see y'all on here. Happy and Joyful says, greeting from the Sunshine State of Florida. Happy to be learning from this fantastic channel. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. And there's Tracy from Rochester, Minnesota. Good to see you. And Andrew, good morning from Latvia. There's Kirk from Greenville, South Carolina, and Sarah from Kentucky. Hey there. And there's Theo he says, happy Thursday to all from downtown Chicago. Good morning to you, Theo. Thank you. And there's John from Denver. I miss Denver. I keep saying that, but I'm going to get back there one of these days. I want to retire there, but my wife hates the cold. So I keep telling her that if you just layer up, it's no big deal. But out here in Phoenix, you can only take so much off. It's still hot. Although her rebuttal is, "Well, you don't have to shovel hot." And that's true. You don't have to shovel hot. There's Eddie from San Antonio. Good morning to you. And there's Jason. Jason says, "A good word." Well, thank you. There's Grady from Ithaca. All in, baby. That's right. Grady's also going to be in the boot camp. Looking forward to working with Grady on that. Joan says, "I'm very interested in voiceover coaching." Okay, well, shoot an email to training at thevoiceoverblueprint.com and we can talk to you a little bit about it. You can also pick up the book, The Voiceover Blueprint. This is the book that I wish I had when I had started. I cover basically everything you need to know at a very, you know, entry level, um, so that, you can kind of feel your way through the beginning part of this. So check it out, but also check out the channel. We have more than 1,500 videos on this channel, almost 85,000 subscribers. So you're in the right place. Robert says, "Good morning from Elkins Park, Pennsylvania. I'm interested in your TV affiliate training. Question: Will there be recordings of the 12 classes for use by the registrants during the 6 weeks?" Oh, yes. Every class that we do, Robert, is recorded and it's uploaded to the members area after after the thing. Even our daily webinars that we do every day, those are all uploaded to the channel, or I'm sorry, to the members area. So usually we get the recordings up 24 to 48 hours after the actual event. So with this training, it's going to be every Tuesday and Thursday for 6 weeks. So it'll be Tuesday is the lesson, and then Thursday is gonna be kind of the Q&A and some practice reads. So some live practice reads. And so that'll go for 6 weeks. So within a day or 2 after each one of those, the video is uploaded to the members area so that you can go back and watch it. And of course, when you buy the course, you have those videos forever. They're all always in your members area. So good question. There's Wayne from Port Orchard, Washington. Good to see you on here, Wayne. And Dennis from Pasadena. Good morning to you. Phil in Tokyo. Domo arigato for being here. Thank you for being here. And there's Tim. Good afternoon from Altoona. All in here working toward making this my retirement job. Hey, you know what? That's a really good point, Tim. And that's another scenario that a lot of people do. Um, you've retired and you want something to kind of occupy your time and make a little extra money to kind of supplement your retirement income or whatever. And yes, that is quite popular as far as what a lot of people will do. A lot of retirees or semi-retirees get into voiceover, and it really works well because once again, low overhead, low barrier to entry, and you can work from home, which is awesome. There's Terry from Fallston, Maryland. He says, "You must commit to being all in for success, 100%." Couldn't have said it better myself, Terry. Thank you for that. Keith says, "What's up, Mike?" What's up, Keith? How are you? Jim, I'm not even sure what that means. How is she doing in the Phoenix clam bake? I guess you're okay. I guess you're referring to my wife. Yeah, it's not even close to being hot here yet. I mean, we've hit the triple digits a couple of times already, but that's chump change compared to what it's going to be in about 2 months. um, although that's the cover charge for living, for the winters here because we have 6 months pretty much of just sunny and 70 every day. So that's always nice. Phoenix and Vegas are usually the two highest temps in the country. You're right. Voiceover by Forever Young says, "Good morning." Well, good morning to you. Sean says, I'm in so deep it's scary. So I guess that's about the right level of in. Yep, it is. It's super scary. And here's a little story. My wife and I decided to go out on our own professionally. In other words, start working for ourselves professionally about 6 months apart. Talk about scary, because a lot of times people have a partner who you can kind of rely on their income while you kind of build yours. Hopefully your partner is as supportive as mine. And, you can rely on their income to kind of scrape by until you build your thing up. A lot of people will do that. But we went out on our own a couple of times or I'm sorry, both at the relative same time. And it was super scary. And yeah, um, but as long as you're committed, you're doing the right things, you're rinsing and repeating those right things, and you've got the foundation laid, it will happen. Just stay the course, keep doing it. Doesn't happen overnight. JR says, good morning from Austin, Texas. Good morning to you. Maria says, I think I shared this before, but as a member, it's so helpful to access all the weekly trainings. I've been practicing my delivery with the past performance videos. Yeah. I mean, it's obviously better to be on those performance calls live, because you can read right there with Mary and get that feedback immediately. But yes, if you can't be on there live, we've got all of last year's webinars and the current year. We always keep the previous year and the current year. So you will never run out of webinars to go back and watch in the blueprint. And that's the next best thing to being there live, because you can hear what other people's interpretations of scripts are. You can hear her feedback to them and, tips and tricks to give a better, more authentic read. So those webinars are they are invaluable. So glad you're able to get those. Alan, good afternoon to you from Philly. And there's Jim. Well, Jim already chimed in, but he's in Memphis. Good to see you on here. Jim says, what does she do? I guess you're referring to my wife. She is a social psychologist. Her PhD is in social psychology. And so she is an executive coach, basically. She coaches Fortune 500 companies and CEOs and C-suite executives on how to be better leaders. And that's what she does. And she's been doing that now for about 9 years, I guess, at this point. D Buffer says, I think I brute forced my all in the moment I invested in a Studio Bricks booth. No turning back now. You got that right. Studio Bricks are like the Cadillac or the Mercedes of booths, and they're super sick. I mean, they're really cool booths, and they're a couple of bucks. I'll tell you that. And so yeah, Studio Bricks, good on you. That's good stuff. Hopefully that'll get your sound where it needs to be. But remember, just because you got a nice booth doesn't mean you don't need the help of an engineer to make sure that you've dialed in your effects rack to fit that booth. So make sure that you've done that. Get an engineer to set you up so that you get the best possible sound out of your booth, your voice, your microphone, your interface, all of that stuff. So just having a fancy booth isn't everything. It's a lot, but it's not everything. Keith says, I need that TV affiliate training. I can't keep doing this dead end job and get anywhere. Damn near stealing money to try and pay for it. I know it's not cheap, Keith, and I get that, but boy, the amount of value that you get out of what we're giving away for this thing is just unbelievable. I mean, there is so much, and I referred to it recently as a business in a box, because we have left no stone unturned as far as getting neck deep into the TV affiliate world. You get the demo done by Bill DeWeese. You get the training done by Aaron and myself. You get an effects rack and a sound check from George Whittam, who is referred to as George the Tech in the VO industry. He is a legend. He is, if those of you who know who Don LaFontaine is, he was his personal engineer. Don LaFontaine is like voiceover god in this business. He's no longer with us, but anyway, and then you get a database with a listing of 3,000 plus radio or TV stations in the country and the names of the people and their email to reach out to. You get 90 days access into the VoiceOver Blueprint, which is the flagship training program that we have here. What am I missing? You get a rate sheet or a rate guide that shows you all the radio. I keep saying radio station, all the TV stations and what they pay per market. Because you get when you sign up or when you get signed up as a TV affiliate voice, you get paid by contract. So they signed you for at least a year or more contract, and you get a monthly stipend or a monthly check, or hopefully it's a direct deposit, but you get monthly income that's reliable, sustainable. And if you get really good at this, like Aaron, he has 11 stations that he currently works with. 11. So he is, talk about being all in. He is one of the kings of this market, of this genre. So he's going to be teaching us. And so anyway, so much you get with this thing. So Alexa says, good morning from West DFW. Hello to you. Maria says, Mary is great. I look forward to Thursdays and she gives great feedback. Oh, she's awesome. Mary is not only a voice talent, but she's also an on-camera talent. She does a lot of commercials and stuff like that. So she knows all there is about performance. And so she is actually hosting this for us every Thursday night tonight. And it's the one that I used to host before I took over for Bill. And she was the first person I thought of when it was time for me to hand it off to somebody. I was like, she's got to be the person. And she's great. She also does one-on-one coaching too. So in addition to the group calls, she does one-on-one coaching. Kyle says, I have a Rode NT1 5th generation. Can you speak to microphone placement for audiobook recording? Yeah. In fact, you know what? I'll talk about it shortly today, but I did a whole topic on this, I don't know, a couple of months ago about microphone proximity. But basically, it's going to be like this. A lot of people use the Shaka symbol, and that's about 6 inches. So you want it to be about 6 inches from your face, but you don't want to talk directly into it. And this is not just for audiobook. This is for everybody. You don't want to talk directly into it. You want to talk past the microphone. No, I've got mine pushed a little further away for the huddle here, but whenever I record, I always bring it back down to where it needs to be. But about 6 inches from your face. And when I say 6 inches, I mean to the diaphragm of the microphone, not to the edge of the microphone, not to the pop filter, not to the grill of the microphone, but to the diaphragm of the microphone, inside the microphone. That far away, usually at about a 45-degree angle. See how mine is kind of pointing down at a 45? And you talk past the microphone. You never talk directly into it. That's a good way to get your peas popped, So talk past it, 6 inches, 45 degrees. Dave says, what is the affiliate training cost? Oh, all the information. There's a few ways to go in that, but all the information is in that link below, Dave. So check that out. Dave also says, love George. He's done a few of my stacks. Yeah, I worked with George a long time ago on all my stuff as well. But once again, every time you go through some iteration of your booth, whether it's a new microphone, a new recording space, so you add something or remove something in your space, always make sure that you get an engineer like George or like Alex, who's in the blueprint, to dial that in for you to make it as good as it can be. Debuffer says, I don't know if you're familiar with his tutorials, but my go-to VO audio engineer I've paid for tuning my effects rack is Lenny B. I'm not aware. No, I'm not sure if I've heard of him. I've worked with Alex, of course, with George, with Uncle Roy Yokelson, um, who is also he's an Emmy winner, Emmy-winning audio engineer. I work with him from time to time, so there's several, in the industry who are really good at the audio stuff. Debuffer also says, "Tomorrow I'm picking up my rock wool for extra padding, so I gotta contact him again." Yep, that's true. Anything you change, you've gotta make sure you've and there may not be anything to change. You know, you may be able to just roll with it, but always send a sample to your engineer of choice, and they will make sure that you're good to go. There's Lonnie says, "Good afternoon from Reynoldsburg, Ohio." I've never heard of Reynoldsburg. Good morning or afternoon to you. Dave says, "Good morning from outside Death Valley." Ooh, it gets hot out there. I'll tell you that. There's Becky says, "Checking in late here in Michigan. Gonna have to hit the rewind." Yep. Jim says, "I attended Lenny B's EQ for Beginners course. Very helpful." Awesome. Yeah, there's a few others. I'm trying to think right off the top of my head. Larry Hudson, I believe, is another bigger name in the engineering space. He's a booth builder. That's one of George's specialties as well. Well, he does it all, but one of his main specialties is sound design, and that's why we've included him in this blueprint or in this boot camp because not only will he dial your sound in based on your room, he will also give you suggestions on things to do to your room to make it sound better. So there's a lot of that you can do to even if you've got a not great microphone, there's a lot of things you can do to your space that will make your microphone sound great. It really is mostly about your space and less about your microphone. Keith says, "When you did my video demo, you suggested I fashion a PVC pipe VO booth. I'm still using it. Would George be able to help me with that?" Oh, absolutely, Keith. And I'm not sure which Keith. Is this Keith Smith? If that's who I'm thinking of. But yeah, if you just have a PVC pipe booth, that's totally doable. Remember, if it sounds good, it is good. I've worked with plenty of people who recorded their demos and record daily, I mean, full-time national work in a PVC booth, just because that's all they could afford at the time, and it still works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, yes, George can definitely help you, make sure that your booth is on point. So, that's a good thing to have. Oh, Keith Archie. Okay, that's right. Okay, sorry about that. I've worked with several people named Keith. So, thank you, Keith, for clarifying that. But yes, he can definitely help you with that. Debuffer says, "I get basic audio EQ, cutting, high pass, etc. And I learned about sidechain ducking when I was making my demo. But man, actual audio engineers are wizards. They really are. They really are. And a lot of people will say, you know, I'll just leave it to the professionals and I just want to be able to hit a button to process all my audio. Some excuse me, some people like that. Other people want to know how the sausage is made, and so they want to see all the tricks and tips and things that you can do to the audio and know how to do it themselves, which I do suggest, by the way. I suggest knowing how all that stuff works because those professionals that you get to set you up, some of them are available on a quick turnaround or whatever, but most of them you have to set an appointment and that kind of thing. But if you into an emergency where you have to fix a piece of audio right then and you don't know what to do, then you're kind of in a pickle. So I always suggest knowing how the sausage is made. That's another reason why when I do my demo production with people, I take them through all the back end stuff on how to do that, how to mix in music and sound effects and all that, because You never know when you need to know how to do that. Plus, if you know how to do that kind of stuff, you can charge more to your clients for doing it. For instance, this is just a total coincidence, but today I'm working on one of the first things I'm going to do when I get off here is I'm doing a podcast intro, and they want music and not effects, but they want music in there as well. So because I know how to mix in music and music and voice, I charge extra for that because that's something they don't want to do or even know how to do. But because I do, I can charge them for it. Same thing goes for IVR work, phone tree stuff. A lot of times people want on hold music or things like that, mixed in. And if you have that skill set, that just makes your time and your work more valuable. Becky says, I kind of miss my PVC fort. Yep. I'm plenty of people do that, use those booths on a regular basis for years. If it sounds good, it is good. Period. I just happen to like, you know, the ambient feel of being in a place like this, or in a booth like this, especially if I'm gonna be in here 8+ hours a day. I want it to be nice. Although when I was in my closet, it was a little cramped. I was in there for years and years. I never did a PVC booth, but I did a closet booth, and I was in there for years before I decided to splurge and get this bad boy. But it took years to get there. All right. Speaking of podcast intros, I think that's my cue for getting off of here and getting to work. So I really do appreciate every single one of you and your comments when you're on here. Oh wait, we got a few more questions popping in here. Do you have a place for sourcing licensed music and Foley audio when a client asks for it? I've been told Storyblocks is decent. Yes, I am a subscriber to Storyblocks, and yes, there is tons of licensed music, sound effects, Foley, even video and images on Storyblocks. So yes, it's a great place to go. Also, YouTube Audio Library. If you have a YouTube account, the audio library is also a good source for royalty-free music and effects. So yeah, there's plenty of places you can get those. Uh, Chef Gomez says, I have a quick question. Do you know where I can get some practice for voice acting? Should I just copy some lines from a show or something? Yeah. Here's what you do. Hop onto YouTube, which I know you know how to do because you're on there right now. Look up some commercials based on things you like. If you drive a BMW, look for some BMW commercials, all things that you're into. Use the transcribe feature on YouTube to transcribe the video, put it on a Word doc, and then just start practicing. And the reason why I like those scripts is because those have been tried and true, tested, and they're real scripts written by real copywriters who know their business. You can ask, Chat GPT to create you some scripts or whatever, but those are always a little eh. So I always try to use real scripts written by real copywriters, so they're worded well, and just practice those and try to get as close to the originals as you can. Easy peasy. Okay, I'm gonna get out of here. Tomorrow is Q&A Friday. If you have any more questions, please bring those on tomorrow, and tomorrow's all about those questions. So feel free to bring them, and I will see you all back here tomorrow on free advice. Well, not free advice. That's somebody else's thing. On Q&A Friday. We'll talk to you then. Take care.